It's the Fine Art Auction, and welcome to the auction gallery.
And the way we put it together gives you a great opportunity to actually get them all. It's the best of the best. The silver-proof Ikes.
What a great collection. What a great show. What a great night. My name's Ray Taylor, and I'll see you at the auction.
We're happy that you are joining us, and we look forward to showing you the highest quality artwork in the television market today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Fine Art Auction. But first, the rules. All bidders must be registered, and if you're going to bid, make sure you know all the rules. First of all, there is a 10% buyer's premium added to each winning bid. Bidders will be responsible for shipping. All works are guaranteed to be as described, or you don't own it, and you may return it to us for a full and prompt refund. If for any other reason you decide to return your purchase, you may do so for up to 7 days after receipt. But in this case, the buyer's premium and shipping are non-refundable. It is mandatory that you obtain a RMA number for all returns. To obtain this number, simply call customer service during normal business hours. All artwork must be received back to us in exactly the same condition as when it was shipped. Please visit the shopabc.com website for a full list of terms and conditions that apply to all of our auctions. And now, from our studios in Atlanta, it's time once again for your host, Ray Taylor. It's the Fine Art Auction. Tonight, we've got works from the masters, the latest up-and-coming street art, and Ray's featured work. From Atlanta to Los Angeles to New York, it's the Fine Art Auction.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ray Taylor, and welcome to the Fine Art Auction. We have an amazing show for you tonight, and I truly mean amazing. All the way from Germany, by way of Singapore, Hong Kong, Italy, and who knows where else, Simon KEF will be in the house tonight. Now, we have a full catalog, and then we're going to devote the last hour and a half to Simon KEF, and it is going to be amazing. We've got new sculpture. We have massive original paintings, all at no minimum bid. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, folks, if you've never seen the Fine Art Auction before, we are live, nonstop, 5-hour art auction. Anything can happen because there's no minimum bid. There's no minimum bid. You determine the bid. I don't start the bid like other auction houses, and we have a good time. Now, it's a live event. If you have a question, call in. We've already had one client call in, John Weideman, and he wanted to know, when does KEF apply the color in those areas on the black line paintings, before or after? I want to know too. So if you have a question, call in. If we can answer it on the air, we will. If not, we'll call you back. It's as simple as that. Now, we're going to have works of great antiquity, works by modern masters, and everything in between. All you need to do is sit back and relax and enjoy the show, and make sure you're registered. It's free. Now, if you ever want to preview the catalog, look right down there, www.shop.avc, Alpha Victor Charlie, AVC, America's Value Channel, and look at the catalog, and it's free. Let's get going, because this is live, and this is real, and it's happening right now. So let's get started with a beautiful original lithograph by Pablo Picasso. That is going to be 20 by 20 inches, 20 by 20 inches. And of course, it is a basket of flowers when he lived on the French Riviera. I think the happiest time of his life. He had finally earned enough money to live in a proper, beautiful mansion. Life was good. He had a new wife, Jacqueline Roca. He'd been married for 3 years. They would stay married literally every single day until the day he died in 1973. Now, we've had fair questions before. Wait a minute, Ray, you just said that's the original Picasso. I know what an original is. It's a painting. I got the original painting. That's it. Original painting. We're done. Well, yeah, if you're talking about paint. We're not talking about paint. We're talking about original prints, original lithographs. Yeah, I have a $20 bill. You know, a $20 bill is an original engraving, and it's an etching. There is no painting of it. It's not a copy of a painting. There is no painting. You have to have a series of steel and copper engraving plates to press the ink into the paper. When you peel it off the engraving plate, then you have the image. But this is lithography. Let's come in by the signature. Doesn't it look like on that signature that somebody drew with a crayon? You can barely see it. Litho crayon, if I catch the light just right, litho crayon. It is. Someone did draw with a crayon on a stone, and that person was Picasso. Let me share that knowledge with you. Let's go to the book stand, and I literally have one of my favorite books by Darcy Hughes, The Printmaking Bible. Now, we have a section on engraving. We're not going to talk about engraving. We're going to talk about true lithography, lithographs. We're going to be talking about lithographs today. To do a proper lithograph, you will need a very heavy stone. They can weigh 90 pounds up. They're thick. Usually you get 4 people, 1 in each corner, to move them. They're that big. They're awful. Now, there are 2 quarries in the world, both in Bavaria, one in Solnhofen and one in Pappenheim. They discovered a vein in Brandenburg, Kentucky in 1960, but it's been played out. Now, you're going to need a grinder. It's called a levigator. You're going to need 80 grit, 120, 180, 240. Now, wait a minute, what is that thing? It's on the cover. It's so important. It's on the cover of the book. That is a grinder. Those little holes are funnels, and you put your grit, carborundum grit, like the same thing that's on sandpaper, but you just pour it right in those funnels, and then the fun begins. You're going to need solvents, and you're going to need printing inks. You're going to need a lot of supplies. You're going to need a printing press that can weigh a ton. You get the stone wet. You put on a layer of grit, then you put the grit in the holes of your levigator and go round and round and round and round and round and round. Then you switch arms and go round and round and round. It's awful. You got to do it 4 times. And then you have a clean stone. The edges are sharp, so you dress it with a file. The edges are sharp, so you don't cut yourself or get a boo-boo. And then, and only then you can make your original drawing with your litho crayon. Oh, you're done, right? You've made the drawing. Oh, no. Oh, no. I always think of Robin Williams when he talks about golf. If you want a good laugh, go to YouTube, type in Robin Williams golf. No, you do it 18 times. Okay, silly me. And then we come over here. You literally set it into stone with acid and gum arabic and other solvents. I'm giving you the short version. When the acid fully adheres the image, it disappears. That's called the ghost. And it doesn't come back until you ink the stone. Now you're on step 18. You're done. Oh, no. No, you have to be a nut to be a lithographer. It's a real pain in the leg. You have to, all of these process, and then when you finally lift the paper, you have one color and you have an original image. Yes, you have an original image. There's no painting. It's not a copy of a painting. This is the original image right here. But that's only one color. You're just getting started. You have to repeat all 25 processes on every piece of paper for every color for an edition of 220 times. That is why an edition can take years, like Salvador Dali's edition of Le Biblia Sacra. Now, but wait, how can there be multiple originals? Well, in 1953, Corvette made 300 polo white and blue Corvettes. If I had one with matching edition numbers, matching transmission number, block engine number, frame number, they run about $800,000. And but wait, there were 300 of them. Okay, now we are looking at an original Picasso lithograph. To learn about this, there are 2 books, mandatory for any Pablo Picasso aficionado. Read the one by his great lover, François Gillot. This is the yin, that is the yang. This is by François Gillot. It is feminine, it is insightful, it has a lot of feelings. You really feel like you're there. One of the greatest photographs ever taken of Picasso is with François Gillot. There is an Olympic polo player right there, just happened to be talking to them. The composition is beautiful. She's so happy and young and beautiful. It was taken by Robert Capra, who made the cover of Life magazine for his life wartime correspondence of the D-Day landing. He was chest deep in water taking photographs. This is on French soil. That's the French Riviera. 2 months after this photograph was taken, Robert went to French Indochina. You may know it as Vietnam, was taking combat photography and stepped in a landmine. I always think of that. Look how happy Picasso is. He's got new babies. He's right down the road from Georges Braque. He's right down the road from his good pal, Henri Matisse. They used to trade racing pigeons. And there they are. Now, that is the yin. You want the opposite? Have you ever read Norman Mailer? He's a boxer. This is machismo. This is macho. This is sex and drugs and rock and roll. This is no kidding around. Some of these pictures, don't leave this on the coffee table. All right, back to the original. Let's go to the certificate. Read those two books. Norman Mailer, François Gillot. Le panier, the basket of fruit. It is a Picasso original lithograph. It is by his hand. It is signed by the artist on the lithographic stone from Bavaria. It is a first date, guaranteed first printing. The plates were executed in Cannes, France, June 13th, 1960. Cannes is C-A-E-N. It's right down the road. 1960. What year did Picasso die? 1973. Okay, all right. I've got a $130 bid. It's in a $400 frame. I've got a $130 bid. You know what the Picasso market is like right now? It is the strongest in the world. It is the strongest market in the world in art. Go to my computer. None of these were printed during Picasso's lifetime. There are 257 items, and they are highly revered. Look at the prices. None of these, zero. None of these, I'll pick any one you want. Look at these prices. And you're worried about bidding $10? You're witty. I like the one on the right. I'll pick that one. Woman by a Window. Picasso died in 1973. What year was it printed? Sometime between 1979 and 82. They're not sure. It's from the estate. He was not alive. He was not alive when this was. There's $18,000. Bid the $10. Go back to the cert. I am offering you a true, original, lifetime, first edition Picasso. Picasso made this by his own hand. He had it printed right down the street. Remember that beach of him, that photograph of him on the beach with his wife and his kid? The atelier is about, the plate where the plates were made is about 4 miles from there. Go to my computer. Picasso died in 1973. All of these, over 250 items, were printed 6 to 7 years after he died. 6 to 9 years after he died. 18,000. These are public, but they're authenticated by his granddaughter. 257 of these things. Look at the prices. Look at the prices. Bid the $25. I'm offering you a lifetime first edition original. Do they sell? Yes, they sell. And the one on the right, the lady in green, not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I like it. I wouldn't buy it for $20,000. It's my opinion. Some of them are quite beautiful. A landscape of Dinarge. My friend Orban Huchet used to live there. He saw that. So would I buy that? Printed in 1979, maybe 1982. At $15,000? I don't know. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't buy it. Go back to the certificate. What am I offering you? What am I offering you? Originals. First date, first printing. June 13th, 1960. I'm looking for $6,000. I'm at the price of the frame. You're getting it for free. I'm offering you an actual, real, lifetime, original Picasso with paper. And guys, I want to tell you something about this show. There might be somebody watching for the first time. Put me on camera, Hollywood. Every work of art, not some, not most, every work of art is guaranteed authentic forever. There's no gray area. Authorship is guaranteed unconditionally forever on every work of art. bid the $25. We've been in business for 18 years. We're approaching our 19-year anniversary, and I will say this. 10 years ago, we were averaging $3,000 to $6,000 on these. Given the state of the current economy, it is a true buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. Guys, I'm $50 over the price of the frame. It is a signed lifetime original lithograph with paper, fully documented. Final 2 minutes. I would bid on this. I would bid on this. You know, in the first hour of the show, the bidding is rather low.
Pablo Ruiz Picasso was born in October of 1881. He passed away in April of 1973. Not just a painter, but a great sculptor, one of the world's greatest printmakers, a ceramic artist, a stage designer, a poet, a playwright, a Spaniard who spent most of his adult life in France. He's gone down in history for co-founding the Cubist movement, the invention of constructed sculpture that he called assemblage, and the co-invention of collage as a fine art form, and for the wide variety of styles that he helped develop and explore. Among his most famous works are the proto-cubists Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, 1907, and Guernica, the dramatic portrayal of the bombing of Guernica by the German and Italian air forces during the Spanish Civil War. It is still thought to be the greatest anti-war painting of all time. Picasso demonstrated extraordinary talent in his early years, painting in a very natural manner. Look at his early works. Nothing that would show what to come. But during the first decade of the 20th century, when he moved to Paris, his style changed as he began to experiment with different theories and techniques and ideas. After 1906, the Fauvist works, the wild beasts of art, Fauve, of the slightly older artist Henri Matisse motivated Picasso to explore more radical styles, and that began a very fruitful rivalry between the two artists. And they were, well, often paired by critics as the leaders of all modern art. I'll sum it up with my opinion. There were two giants in the 20th century. It was Matisse and Picasso and everyone else. Now, Matisse and Picasso were a pair of grumpy old coots, but they were always friends. I remember quite clearly reading in a book, Matisse once said, "Oh, Picasso's in the front yard again. What has that thief come to steal?" And then when Picasso, then it was turned the other way around. Matisse would go visit Picasso. He said, "Oh, that old codger, he's always trying to steal my ideas." So anyhow, it was friendly. Picasso's work is often categorized into periods. Now, the names of many of his later periods are debated, but the most commonly accepted periods in his work are the Blue Period, 1901 to 1904, the Rose Period, 1904 to 1906, the African Influence Period of 1907 to 1909, Analytic Cubism of 1909 to 1912, and Synthetic Cubism of 1912 to 1919. It's also referred to as the Crystal Period. Now, much of Picasso's work of the late 1910s and early 20s, the World War I was over, it is a neoclassical style. And then much of his work in the mid-20s has, well, definitely characteristics of surrealism, which was holding sway. But then his later works became a combination of elements of all of his earlier styles. Exceptionally prolific throughout the course of his long life, Picasso achieved universal renown and immense fortune for his revolutionary artistic accomplishments, and he's still one of the best-known figures of all 20th century art.
Go to my computer. Are we out of time? Okay, let's go to my computer real quick. I want to show you what's on the market right now. The second one, if you see Prison Picasso, talk to an expert. The third one, purported? No, talk to an expert. Now, some of these are a little high priced because we had this on the show, $91,000. We sold ours for $6,000. We had that on the show. We sold it for $6,000. If you're going to buy something like this, give me a call. If I don't know, I will say, I don't know. And I will refer you to an expert. But some of these, for example, this is a poster. I don't. That's a poster. That's a poster. It's lovely. No, I collect a vintage poster. I have a vintage Salvador Dali poster, and it's heavily damaged. It'll need to be restored. That's a poster. That is a poster. It's $12,500. Guys, just give me a call. I'll do my best. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know. This is from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's $18,000, but it is clearly, absolutely clearly, a poster. You can see the writing on it. Oops, sorry, not that one. That one. It's a poster from the Met. How much is it? That's $18,000. Nothing wrong with collecting vintage posters. That's in 1983. Oh my gosh. Go back to the CERT. This is what you want to see. At a reputable art dealer, you want to see original. It is by his hand. It is lifetime. It is the true first state. It is the true first printing. It was printed about 3 miles from his house in 1960. When would he pass? Posthumous editions are $15,000 to $20,000 now. This is not posthumous. He was alive. He made this by his hand. He made this by his hand. Go to my computer. You can get that for $18,000. It's a poster from the Metropolitan Museum of Art from 1983. Picasso had been dead, 85. Picasso had been dead for 12 years. Which would you rather have? Guys, we're talking pennies here. Take off that $400 frame. Are you in rough shape? Let's go to the certificate. Last time. He would pass in 1973. It is the original lithograph by his hand. It is the first date, guaranteed. It is the first printing, guaranteed. Now, this has been reprinted on calendars. I've seen it. I'm not offering you that. I'm not offering you a reprint. First date, first printing, 1960. Bid the $50. The frame is $400. All right, and here we go. I've got 8 now. It's going to bid 9. I've got 8. Guys, DVR the show. They won't believe you in the future. Go back to my computer.
All right, we gotta go. Come on. 25 minutes.
Oh. Like my friend Ray Withers would say, you done good. Hammers up and I'm all done, all in, and I sold. Ooh.
Frank Shepard Fairey is considered by many to be America's Banksy. He is a giant, he is a legend. I consider him the most important contemporary artist in America, and that's saying a lot. He was born February 15th, 1970. An activist, a founder of a clothing line, Obey Clothing, and you can still buy it, you'll find it. And it all came out of the skateboarding scene. In 1989, he designed Andre the Giant Has a Posse. It was an experiment in social phenomenology. It was a sticker campaign that he created attending the Rhode Island School of Design. He then designed the Barack Obama Hope poster for the 2008 United States presidential election. I think that really put his footprint on American society. The Institute of Contemporary Art in Boston has described him as one of the best known and most influential street artists in the world. His works are in the permanent collections of the Smithsonian, quite rare for a living artist, the LA County Museum of Art, which is spectacular, you must go. The Museum of Modern Art in New York City. If you can only see, if If God, fate, the good Lord allots you one museum left in your life, go to the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. It's the home of Matisse's The Dance, a Van Gogh Sunflower, Van Gogh's The Starry Night, Salvador Dali's The Persistence of Memory, and Les Demoiselles d'Avignon by Pablo Picasso, currently appraised at $1.2 billion with a B dollars. If you have one museum left in you, Museum of Modern Art, New York City. Museum of Contemporary Art, San Diego, the National Portrait Gallery of Washington, D.C., the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts in Richmond, Virginia, and abroad, the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. His style has been described as a bold, iconic style that is based on styling and idealizing images. If you are a regular viewer of the show, you remember that for years, many, many years, I predict Shepard Fairey will be a member of the $100,000 club. And for years, I kept saying it. He's going to be in the $100,000 club. He's going to be in the $100,000 club. And I would show, pardon me, an image called the Peace Goddess at $80,000. And that was 2009. I kept saying, he's going to be in the $100,000 club, $100,000 club. I said, I know it, I can feel it. And then live on television, October 4th, 2018, the auction was at Sotheby's of New York. October 4th, 3 days earlier, 2018, I announced his painting coming out of the collection of Marsha and Robin Williams, The Arab Woman, at $112,000. Well, I'm proud to announce that at Sotheby's of New York, October 2nd, 2020, Obama Hope sold with an auction estimate of $50,000. An original painting by him is just sold at $600,000. And it was an edition of 3. Yep, it was a limited edition at $600,000. And he's a young man. The best is yet to come. I also want to let you know something that, like a lot of these young, new artists, they're very altruistic. He is a great philanthropist, and I respect him. He's a hero. Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have his newest release, and let me measure it first, and then there's a lot I want to say about this piece because I truly love it. There's a certain je ne sais quoi. There's a certain thing I just love about it. Now, that's a full yardstick right there, so I'm going to leave that here so you can see it. Come on, quit being fussy. There we go. And right over here is my 4-footer. Thank you, Susan. She's so nice. That's going to be 42 by 30, 42 by 30. Now that's 4 feet right there. That's 4 feet. I hope you have a big wall.
All you need to know is 2011 and artist proof. We've never had an artist proof.
Right.
Like a Shepard Fairey artist proof. We've never had one. And we never had this early of a print. 2011.
Right. This, I would have to put it above $20,000. And there's so much symbology in there, so many symbols in there that make it truly one of my favorite. All right, Tony, you might be old enough. Tony, what's this? I bet Dave doesn't know.
I can't see.
What's that?
Oh, it's the thing for a vinyl record.
When you have a 40, Dave, do you know? He doesn't know.
It's a 45, like it fits with.
Look at Kimmy. Do you know what this is, Kimmy? Okay, you put it in the giant hole of a 45 RPM record so it'll fit on a 33 LP turntable. That's an insert. And this is Yin and Yang. Oh, that's Tony's nickname for me, you big yin yang.
Yo-yo. You nickname Yo-yo.
I know. There's the dollar, men and women, power to the people, peace, the planet. Oh, shopping at Target. The Ankh from Egypt, a grenade. The White House, the peace symbol, the American Red Cross. Rock and roll, man. The Soviet Union. What else we got? I've seen that one before. Wait, if we got a donkey, we better have an elephant. There he is. There he is. We got the donkey in the.
I'm surprised Shepard Fairey included the elephant.
Yes, I am.
He is about as socialist communist as they come.
Is he good? Well, we need more of those.
Oh yeah, socialism and communism works everywhere.
That's it. Well,
It works everywhere.
the Star of David, the recycling emblem. I think, is that anarchy? The anarchy.
I'm surprised. When I saw the elephant, I almost fell out of my chair.
Well, there are other imagery. There's other imagery as well. We have the human anatomy, which goes back to Leonardo da Vinci. We have architecture. We have California. We have newspaper headlines.
A couple originals by Shepard Fairey, and they sold well. But guys, we've never had a print this caliber.
Right.
This early. 2011 is very early. And to have an artist proof.
Well, I'm going to put it not a penny less than $25,000. And if you want me to back that up, if we ever had a work of art that was $25,000 on this show, let me back that up. Go to my computer. Now, there is no conjecture here. This is not guessing. This is factual auction results. We are going to be talking about prints. We'll talk about originals in a moment. These are not artist proofs. I've never seen an artist proof till today. This one right here, War by Numbers. It is a print. $40,000. Proud Parents on the right. It is a print. It is a silk screened print. $40,000 without fees. The one on the left, a serigraph. That is a silk screened $37,000. That is without the fees. Hope, the Barack Obama. Now, the thing about this, there were 5,000 printed. They were put up on telephone poles, shop windows. Almost all of them were thrown away. One in mint flawless condition. They thought it might go 1,000, maybe 1,200. But political ephemera is extremely valuable in pretty much any condition. The most expensive political ephemera, a campaign poster for Abraham Lincoln sold for $350,000, and it's a poster. But see, people, ephemera means short-lived. They throw them away. The show's over. Throw it away. $31,000, $28,000. Ours is as good as any of these. $25,000, $24,000. This is the hammer price. That's without fees. That's without fees. That's one of my favorites. Obey. I saw that on a comic book store window. No, not a window. A wall in Kaimuki in Honolulu, Hawaii, which has the highest comic book purchase statistic per resident. I went to a yard sale there. A guy opened his garage door. It was all comic books. And I was like, wow. Okay, so we know about the pricing. Let's look at other pricing. Let's go back to the art. I'm on the wrong page. That's a reproduction. That's a poster. I want to show originals. Go to my computer. Now, okay. Now, I'm not going to be talking about that. I wanted to talk about the Peace Goddess. And I talked about this for years, 80,000. I kept saying, auction estimate, 50, I'll enlarge it. I know it's hard to read on your television at home. Sorry about that. Oh, where'd she go? When you enlarge it, they run away. There it is, the Peace Goddess. They thought it'd go 50 to 70. It went for $80,000 with buyer's fees. And I kept saying, he's going to be in the $100,000 club. And I just knew it. When I saw that auction result, and 83,000, 84,000 for Guns N' Roses. And then right here, I announced it live on the air. This one? No, it wasn't that one. It was this one. I announced it live on the air October 7th because the auction, I remember, was October 4th. And I said, let's look at the current high prices. I go, there it is, 112,000. Guys, it's in a $1,000 frame, and this is a Shepard Fairey artist proof, and this is a big deal. This literally is a big deal. This is quite valuable. Now, any young man during their lifetime is in the Institute of Contemporary Art. I still call it the Boston Museum of Modern Art. They changed the name. It's the Boston Museum of Modern Art, so there, neener. There are very few living artists in the Smithsonian. Almost without exception, it is a posthumous collection of Americana. Very few living artists are in the Smithsonian. And one of my favorite places in the entire world is the LA County Museum of Art. Yes, it is next door to the La Brea Tar Pits, and I'm a 10-year-old kid, and I love going there every time. They got the saber-toothed tiger skulls, and they got elephants, and they're all in tar, and it's awesome. And the tar pit is still bubbling. And then right across the street, they have the Peterson Automotive Museum, where they have life-size Hot Wheels. Yeah, I got myself excited. They got the life-size Hot Wheels, and they got the Batmobile and the Batcycle and a bunch of other cool stuff. Museum of Modern Art, and I'll say it again, if you only have one museum left, the Dance by Matisse, one of the 7 Sunflowers by Van Gogh, and Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, valued at $1.2 billion. It literally is the painting that changed modern art. Museum of Contemporary Art, San Diego, National Portrait Gallery. That just looks like a museum. He's a young man. He's in all of these museums. I'm offering you the artist proof, and I'm at the price of the frame. I am at the price of the frame. And again, I do want to talk to you about his charity work. Read this whole bio. It's phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. And who wouldn't love to be a resident artist at the Museum of Art Spalding House? I've been to that place many a time. That is one of my favorite places in the world. As you know, and I'm not bragging because I went there for the art business. I lived in Hawaii for 12 years. I've been to the Spalding House. I lectured there. I was invited to lecture there, and so I did it. Where is it? One Love for Chi, founded by the Deftones. I shouldn't laugh, but I just like the name of that band, the Deftones. Okay, I need to pick it up. Pick it up, Raymond. I want to go straight down to his charity work. He is a phenomenal human being. Make art, not war. I believe in that. I think we should make art and not war. He believes in feeding America, the ACLU, Obey Clothing, which he donates the profits, 100% of the profits to organizations. Adopt a Pet. I believe in Adopt a Pet. It's been very hard for us ever since our hula girl passed away. We can't even think about it. We can't even talk about getting another dog. Oh, here's the other one. This is the big one. I have friends that have diabetes. He is a big proponent of breaking through juvenile diabetes research. I'm telling you, I just like this guy. I've never met him. I like him. I just like him. All right, go back to the art. We are 10 cents on the dollar. Guys, a similar work is right here. Go to my computer. We're talking price $18,000, $20,000. These are similars. $20,000, $24,000. I'm 10 cents on the dollar. $25,000. Look on the left. $31,000. These are prints. I'll prove it. These are prints. I'm not in the category. I'm not even in the category of original paintings. You want to talk original paintings? Let's talk original paintings. I'll reduce it so we can go up. Now, this is an edition of 3. It sold for $375,000. The second one went up for auction, not $375, went for $600,000. One just sold.
I bought that one.
Yeah, Tony got that one.
I'm such a big fan of Obama.
$735,000.
I love Obama so much.
I know you do, Tony.
I voted for him the first time. He let me down. I didn't vote for him the second time. And then I just stopped voting because they're all scumbags too.
I'm a firm believer of Grandpa Simpson. Here's the meme you should all search for. Old man yells at cloud. He's got his fist. He's shaking.
Old man shakes fist at cloud.
Yeah, that's it.
Old man tries to stop the waves.
That's me.
Waving the waves
Yes,
back.
yes.
You know what? When people ask me why I don't vote, I say, you know why? Because none of them have asked me for my vote.
I know
Nobody talks about anything that really matters. $35 trillion in debt. That doesn't exist. Our kids aren't even paying for that. All right, last call, guys.
My phone's blowing up on calls from Kathleen Gallagher. Kathleen, I'm working.
Is that what you call what you do?
Kathleen, I'm on the TV right now. I gotta go. Hammers. See, I always take phone calls because I'm polite.
Sold it under the money now, way under the money. Congratulations. There are not enough superlatives to talk about Leonardo di Ser Piero da Vinci. Yeah, his real last name was di Ser Piero. It wasn't Da Vinci. Da Vinci is the town that he was from. See, back then the world population was so little, it'd be like Tony from Tampa or Ray from Miami or, oh, that guy, what's his name? Yeah, Don, yeah, where's he from? Atlanta. That kind of thing, if you were from out of town. But his family name is Di Ser Piero, but he went by Leonardo da Vinci because he was born out of wedlock. He was born April 15th, 1452. He died the 2nd of May, 1519, in the arms of a king, the King of France. In his later years, his greatness was so respected, the King of France said, I will give you a palace. I will give you a retinue. I will give you carriages. I will give you cooks and chefs and gardeners if you'll just come to France. He said, okay. Now, we know that most of his fame came from his achievements as a painter. But I want to let you know he was a real scientist. He never said I was a genius. He said, I just simply have an insatiable and curious mind. He worked on anatomy. Now, when I was younger, I thought he did 3 cadaver studies. Oh no, the number is 63 plus. They're not real sure. They know 63 for sure. Back in a time where the desecration of a corpse was punishable by death. It's a very famous scene. You read about Leonardo da Vinci. What a life. The Pope actually turns his back and leaves the key to the morgue on the desk. And when he turns around, the key is gone. Leo doesn't say anything. The Pope doesn't say anything. He says, excuse me, Your Eminence. He loved studying the stars. He knew about another Italian by the name of Galileo. So he said, well, the best way to study the stars is to learn how to grind lenses. Most lenses back then were the size of a dime or a quarter. He made them, he said, the size of a saucer. Now, you got to remember, it's a little Italian saucer. It's for an espresso. He studied botany, cartography, painting, paleontology. It is genius. It is absolutely genius. Now, many people would call him the greatest painter in the history of art. I would agree, but I've always said he's tied for first with Rembrandt.
Should I bid on this? Well, go to my computer. I've got a $200 bid. Have you ever seen one for sale anywhere in your life? The most valuable painting ever sold in the history of all humanity is $450 million for Leonardo da Vinci's The Savior of the World. $450 million. So let's take a look at the list. Number 1, Leonardo da Vinci. Number 2, Willem de Kooning, Paul Cézanne, Paul Gauguin, Jackson Pollock, Gustav Klimt, Rembrandt, Picasso, coming in at number 10 with a bullet. How do I learn about this? What is it? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page. I'm still back on that. There is a paper called The Treatise on Painting. It's easy to study. Anybody can find it on Wikipedia. Just type in a treatise on painting. And I quote, it's by Raphael Dufresne. It is a collection of Leonardo da Vinci's writings under the general heading on painting, concerning the matter of painting. And abridged, they were just a stack of letters, really, and papers. roughly published in France in 1651. But then his heir, Francesco Melzi, his manuscript was rediscovered in the Vatican Library, and that was published in 1817. Ours predates that. Ours predates the example published by the Vatican. Ours predates that. Now, there is actually a website dedicated to Leonardo da Vinci and his treatise on painting. We go to the introduction. It documents the legacy of Leonardo da Vinci on the science of art. The treatise on painting circulated widely. Artists and scientists, scholars, including Nicolas Poisson and Galileo, read it avidly. It's a phenomenal, and it's called treatiseonpainting.org. Write it down, treatiseonpainting.org. It's a wonderful read. Now, even the first page, when you click on more, you're going to get a bunch more. Okay, sorry about that. So we go back, we go to the Libro di Pittura. This is the Vatican's document. That's not for sale. No, I offer them go ahead, offer them $10 million. That is not for sale. Vatican doesn't sell, by the way. Manuscripts. We look at the earliest known handwritten manuscripts. And I don't think these trade, they're like in the Biblioteca Riccardiana. That's not for sale. The one in Florence, the Biblioteca Riccardiana, it's not for sale. These are not for sale. Well, hush my mouth. Printed editions. Now, the first versions were done in Paris by Giacomo Langlois in 1651. You're not getting those. We go right down to here. Is it trackable? In Diderville, Paris, 1796. Guys, I'm looking for $20,000. These do not come on the market very often. As in never. As in never, ever, 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 ever. As far as I know, we're the only people in the world selling these. Let's go to, the frame is going to be 19 by 21, 19 by 21. These aren't very big. That is going to be, ballpark me at 3, 2 7/8. I don't know, I'm off to the side. 2 3/4. Two and 3/4 by 4 3/8. I'm sticking with it, Your Honor. About the size of a playing card. But are they exquisite? Yes. Are they worthy of your collection? Yes. What I like about this one is that it incorporates, sit down, get ready, put on your big boy pants. It's the background for the Mona Lisa. Yep, that's the valley. That's the valley. That's the background for the Mona Lisa. I'm looking for $20,000 to $25,000. Another thing that is phenomenal for an artwork this size, it is extremely rare to see what is called the moire effect. It's a person standing there. This is some of the finest engraving you'll ever see in your life. Looking for $20,000. Let's go to the certificate, please. Landscape with a bridge and a tower is the original etching in black ink on a laid paper from the designs of Leonardo da Vinci. Extremely scarce. There's an understatement. Conceived between the years 1485 to 1513 by Leonardo da Vinci from the French edition published in Paris, Diderville, in 1796. We're looking for $20,000. We're looking for $20,000. We're looking for $20,000. This is irreplaceable. And a $350 frame, I think you're doing A-okay. Now, go to my computer. Anybody can read it for free. Anybody can read it for free. Archive.org, Da Vinci on Painting. Archive.org, archive.org. Now, this one was translated into English, and I am drawing a blank. I have a gift. Someone mailed me in 1835 the real book, and it's on my desk, and I keep meaning to do it, and I'm embarrassed. I'm drawing a blank on their name right now. There's so many nice people that watch the show, like James Iser. We're going to be talking about James in a moment. There is the preface. I want to go to where they talk about, he talks about hold on, it's actually in the book, but you have to do it one page at a time. Go back to the art.
Now, we don't know a lot about Leonardo da Vinci from his paintings. There's 25 that are known by him, another 15 that are attributed to him. What do we know about him? How do we know so much about him? It's his notebooks. In his lifetime, he made over 13,000 pages of notes and drawings. And as a group, they fuse art and natural philosophy, and that is, isn't it the forerunner, the basis of all modern science? He did it every day, wherever he would go. He made continual observations of the world around him without judgment. Their incredible range of interest and occupation and preoccupation. Some are mundane, lists of groceries, people that owed him money. Where'd he leave his shoes? Some are intriguing, designs for wings, shoes for walking on water, details of drapery, faces, emotion, animals, babies, plant studies, whirlpools, war machines, flying machines. Well, these papers have found their way into major collections like the Royal Library at Windsor Castle. And their masterpiece, their magnum opus at Windsor Castle, the Royal Library, it is a document that is unparalleled in the history of humanity. First drawing of a child in the womb. A pregnant woman had passed away. And rather than, he said, this is an opportunity for science. There are, the third floor of the Louvre in Paris has actually been redesigned around not only the Mona Lisa, but his writings, his papers. The National Library of Spain has a big collection, the Victoria and Albert Museum, the National Library of Italy in Milan. They have the 12-volume Codex Atlanticus. The British Library in London has the Codex Arundel. The Codex Leicester is the only privately owned work by Leonardo da Vinci. The booklets like that. It's owned by Bill Gates. And before the pandemic, he would take it all around the world. Now there's one left. It's called the Codex Urbanus. The Codex Urbanus. The treatise on painting is a collection of da Vinci's writings just under a general heading on painting, concerning the matter of painting. The main aim of the treatise is to argue that painting is a science.
Go to my computer. That little tower in the left, bottom left, bottom left. Now, do you see the sun? Do you see the sun in the image on the top? Let's go back to the art. Let's go back to the art. There is the sun in the treatise on painting, the Codex Urbanus. There is the little tower. There is the little tower. I'll give you the website, treatiseonpainting.org. Treatiseonpainting.org. And there's the other building. Go back to my computer. Now I'm going to read you the corresponding passage that goes with this. And this doesn't make, and now it's common sense. But watch how my brain spin. Where the shadows terminate upon the lights, observe well what parts of them are lighter than the others, where they are more or less softened and blended. But above all, remember, young people have no sharp shadings. Their flesh is transparent, something like what we observe when we put our hand between the sun and our eyes. It appears reddish and of a transparent brightness. If you know what kind of shadow will suit the flesh color you are painting, place one of your fingers close to your picture so as to cast a shadow upon it. And according to as you wish it, either lighter or darker, put it nearer or farther from it and imitate it. Ow! It's brilliant. Every word of this is true. Why reflected colors seldom partake of the color of the body where they meet. When you read it, you go, he's right. And it's just like, if you are an artist, read every word of this. I don't care if it takes you a year, and it might take you a year. None of it's hard. No big words. There's the tower again. There's the tower again. I'm looking for $20,000. This is a 1796 original etching. Leonardo da Vinci. They're only in the greatest museums and greatest libraries in the world, like the Victoria and Albert collection. Guys, bid on this. The frame is $400. You're getting it for $300. Guys, bid on this. I'm telling you as a friend. There it is again. the quantity of air interposed between the eye and its object is, the less will also color the object participate of the color of the air. It follows that the greater the quantity of air interposed between the eye and the object seen, the more the object will participate of the color of the air. It is demonstrated thus. I love this guy. And there is the wall. There's the wall. Do you really think that's $750? Do you think you'll ever see one for $7,500? You won't. Number one, you won't see them. You can't buy these. You can't go down to the mall and get these. If you know an art dealer in Rome, you're going to be, you could spend $75,000. Guys, these are irreplaceable. I know this is a TV show, and I know you're sitting at home in your jammies, and my goodness, bid on this. Bid on this. All right, here we go. Remember you were there. And that is why I keep telling everybody, tape the show. Show it to your kids. I would have bid, I could have bid, I should have bid. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Take it home. It's a Da Vinci. Take it home. We're offering you literally some of the greatest objects. Go to my computer. What's number one? Leonardo da Vinci. The client bought it for $450 million, adjusted for inflation. He made $109 million since 2017. Last time I made $100 million on a painting, I was quite pleased, and then I woke up. All right, and here we go. All right, and here we go. We'll have coffee, we'll talk. Let's go back to the certificate. Last time, bid the $50. I'm stuck at $750. You know, our record on the show is $12,000. That is before the pandemic. Landscape with a bridge and tower. The original etching is in black ink. No, it is not by Da Vinci. Da Vinci never made an engraving. It is from the design of Leonardo da Vinci, extremely scarce, conceived in the years between 1485 and 1513 by Leonardo da Vinci. But it's from the French edition that was published in 1796. Now, anybody can go to Wikipedia, and there is a very, very telling line. Good art is worthy of your study. Oh, I lost my page. I'm a dumb bunny. But he has a good heart, and he's industrious. Go to my computer, the treatise on painting, La Traité de la Peinture by Raphael Dufresne. After Melzi, Francesco's Melzi manuscript was discovered in the Vatican Library, it was published in its modern form in 1817. Mine predates that. So yes, it has value. Yes, it has value. Oh gosh, what a disaster. 10 cents on the dollar now, 10 cents on the dollar now, 10 cents on the dollar now. Take off that $400 frame. You know, there's a lot of galleries in Rome near the Vatican. Walk into any of them. Say, yes, I'm looking for a 1796 Leonardo da Vinci original etching with paper. I'll give you $1,000. Don't, and I'm just going to say it. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. You keep this in the family.
Sold it under the money now, way under the money. Congratulations.
My name is Lisa Mee. I am an artist. I currently live in New York City, and that's what I have devoted my life to, is my art. My earliest is as a child. I just love getting lost in painting. I grew up in a small, tiny little town in northern New Jersey, very close to New York City though. So we would often take family trips together to museums, and a tragedy hit my family when I was very young. That was the loss of my mom. I remember realizing how precious life is and how you can capture it, the feeling and the essence of a person or a place on a canvas or on paper. I found solace in my art though. I mean, whenever I was stressed out, I still do that to this day. It's a transcendent form of meditation for me. I go into probably an unconscious deep breathing, actually. I actually notice it now though, more than ever. And my hand is involved in every step of the way. And it is a tedious, long effort to get to that point where it's really a point of perfection, where I feel it's a perfect place.
Whenever I talk about Lisa Mee, I have to admit I have been a fan of her work from the moment I saw it. I'm a big fan of art that's uplifting. I want art that is going to increase the mood of the room that it's in. There was a psychologist once who wrote this great article. He was basically saying that when it comes to art, we very rarely stop and stare at our art collection each day. But as we move around our environment, meaning our home, it's always in our peripheral vision. It's why when someone is feeling under the weather, we bring them some fresh flowers. That is what Lisa's work reminds me of. When you put it on a wall, there's an element of just warmth and this uplifting quality to it.
Really, when I talk about the highest calling, that is the highest calling, where there is no point of reference to refer to, like, oh, there's a mountain. Gotta get that contour right. Oh, there's a flower. Gotta get that petal just so. There's a person or a woman. Oh, her hair. No, I feel that is the greatest challenge, and I love challenges because I get bored, you know, and I just love being challenged. So I would say, yeah, I'd say getting lost in a big abstract. I like big. So it's like going large with abstract pieces, but at the same time, I can also get lost in a beautiful singular rose.
It's just extraordinary because she's achieved the one thing that is probably the single most difficult thing for an artist to achieve, and that is being what's called recognizable. When I look at Lisa Mee, I don't look at it and go, oh, this reminds me of this reminds me of that. And yeah, I'm a big fan of her.
My method. I gather patterns found in natures. Water currents, geological forms such as stones or shells, skies, forests, flowers. Often I'm on a walk and I'll see a sunset streaming with rich color. Or the building next door will display a luscious floral arrangement in a huge pot at their entrance. Recently I've discovered flowers, an exotic blend of pure light greens and stunning violets. Gorgeous color combinations such as these form the beginning of my work. I begin by mixing matte mediums, the background, with different paint colors. And I never know what hues will come about, and that's the joy of seeing the unexpected unfold. Beautiful tints emerge that I would have never gotten out of a paint tube, and that's how I work, very spontaneously. When the paints are laid out, I merge the paint together. While it's sopping wet, I'll apply a sheet of paper to the surface and carefully press it into the canvas. With great care, I lift the paper off the surface, or I'll leave the paper on the canvas if I like the veil-like effect. Often I sketch a composition onto the canvas, particularly tree scenes and landscapes since they are more detailed. Then I meticulously cut and tear fabric and paper and fill in the composition along with metallic paints. If a painting radiates movement and energy, then I know it's finished. As you know, I like her. I like her as a person. And I have a quote here that I use every time. I want my paintings to stir feelings of soaring and floating as though they were suspended and relieved of gravity. It's a quality of the natural and the spiritual in harmony, graceful, free, and joyful. 11 years ago, Chelsea Studios, New York City. Her earlier style, beautiful. Gallery guide to New York City. Artist Lisa Mee has done the impossible. Superbly gifted artist. Kashan Gallery of Nyack, New York, one of the best in the world. We're talking over a decade ago. Great Neck Art Center, New York, New York. That is where Louise Nevelson and Larry Rivers taught, as well as her husband, Wayne Ensrud. Indie Walls, New York City. You can see a much earlier style. You know, you have to go down a path to arrive at this. J.H. Brown Fine Art of Waitsfield, Vermont. Art Abound, New York City. Design Lawn, who did they choose for the inaugural exhibition? Lisa Mee. Art Gotham, Square Foot Show. Transform Gallery of New Rochelle, New York. You want to talk pricey? Go to art galleries in San Francisco. They have to have a huge markup. Why? Because the cost of retail floor space. If you are in a gallery in San Francisco, you're in the best in the world. You want to talk retail floor space? Let's talk the Hamptons. Yeah, real estate bargains abound in the Hamptons. No, they don't. Patch Magazine, San Francisco Chronicle, Time Out New York, Lisa Mee, featured artist in artinnewyorkcity.com, Eco Art Shanghai. If she goes back to China, wow. Featured artist, Ovation Arts Network. Yeah, you might want to bid on this. She was on tour doing a series of museums across the United States, and her works obviously are published, and she's a very important artist, magnificent. And like a lot of the art, now some of the works of art on this show, what you see is what you get. But with Lisa Mee, they're so much better in person. They're so full of color, and they're alive with texture, and they're just wonderful. Make sure you get one of these before she goes back on her museum tour. And if she goes back and starts going international, international, you'll never see a $5,000 price again. And this is wonderful. You know, Lisa Mee is just one of the nicest, most decent, one of the most kind and caring people I've ever met. And I have to do this by the book. We have to properly. On the frame now, that is going to be 36 by 29. They're pretty much consistent in their sizing. 36. Now this is a very valuable frame. It's what they call a float mount, or you can even call it a gallery wrap. Many times, now I'm going to angle it again, stay with me. When the artist paints around the corner, see, you can't really see it. Well, can you see it? Yeah, there it is. She's painted around the corner, so you do want to show that. It's much more expensive framing. It literally is a frame within a frame. It's a very expensive way to frame. So really you're looking at two handmade frames. And I do like showing the back. Azure Blue, Mediterranean Cove near Saint-Tropez. Lisa Mee, brand new. It is fresh to the market. And I love the way, come over to the other side. How you can see, like some, not all, some of the paints will like flow through the canvas. I just think it's I'll show you everything. I do like seeing things like that. Now when I turn the painting around, you will see the finished work of art, of course. Now this is an email, and this literally is the first printing. This is from Lisa Mee. I signed it. You can zoom in right there. My pen ran out of ink, of course, so I signed it twice. Read on air, 11/24/24. My pen died, so I signed it again. Let me read, and take your time wandering around on the artwork on this. I'm going to read every word from a very kind human being, one of my favorite human beings on this planet. Azure Blue, Mediterranean Cove near Saint-Tropez, Lisa Mee. If Ray wants to read my thanks for condolences on the air again Sunday, please do so. Thank you. Of course, Lisa.
I quote Lisa Mee. First, I want to express my heartfelt thanks to all those who expressed condolences in the wake of the passing of my beloved Wayne. Now, she is talking about Wayne Ensrud, an American legend, American giant, one of the greatest artists we've ever had on the show in the history of the show. I quote Lisa, given the volume of messages that came to me in my social media, I'm sorry I couldn't send replies to everyone, but please know that I read and appreciate every note. Thanks especially to my wonderful friend Ray. Thank you, Lisa. And the team at the Fine Art Auction Channel who knew Wayne for years and realized the exceptional bond he and I shared, not just as husband and wife, but also as artists on constant quest to create beautiful paintings. As I piece together the shards of my shattered heart and soul, I thank you all for your loving support. Now, that's one part. Now I want to read what she wrote about this work of art. When Wayne first took me to the French Riviera over 25 years ago, it opened a vast window of visual pleasures. The coastline was a revelation of colors, tones, and forms I had never seen before. A mystifying blend of water and exotic terrain, this merging of two distinct opposites appears dreamlike and otherworldly. The decadent, dense blue of the Mediterranean looks like it was painted by Matisse, while the rising coastline of never-ending lush foliage accents the sinuous contours of the Maritime Alps. Well, she's a good writer. It's like God created the sensual landscape as a decadent visual party. Under the lucid southern light of the Riviera, this coastal landscape appears like art in the wild. That's beautiful. This canvas of a cove near Saint-Tropez depicts the gentle, curved coastline as it meets the sea. The terrain bleeds off the canvas right and left to expand the composition sideways, hence the framing. The horizon line in the upper right contains the sea and acts as a border to the ethereal sky. The spatial planes of the mountains angle towards the right, guiding the eye into the vast blue expanse of the Mediterranean. The trees in the foreground lead the eye upward to juxtapose the side-to-side movement of the landscape. I try not to revert to a literal description like a photograph. Rather, I welcome the outdoors inside to capture forever a moment of breathtaking beauty on canvas that's infused with my own creative impressions. Okay, now I want this painting. And yes, and we will email you a photograph of her standing next to the painting. Now I love it. It's a masterpiece. Okay, you will get, this is a first printing. I just received this today. I signed it and then my pen died. Then I signed it again. Well, of course my pen died. And what do we say when life hands us a raw deal, Raymond? Called it. Let's go to the certificate. No, just no. The azure blue Mediterranean cove near the Saint-Tropez. Original mixed media painting, $950. These sell for $40,000. I'll prove it almost right now. Signed by the artist lower left, a unique work executed by Lisa Mee. You will get her own writing, read on air today. My pen died right on the R. That's why I re-signed it. That's coming with the art, guaranteed. Okay. Who's going to bid? Who's going to go? Who's going to bid now? I've got 11 now. It's going to bid 12. I've got 11 now. It's going to bid 12. Oh, way under the money. Let me show you something for those of you on the edge. Go to my computer. Here's an art dealer in Manhattan. You know Manhattan retail floor space. Little pricey. How much? Oh, okay. I can't get a nickel on the dollar. You walk into a Manhattan art gallery. I walked into 3 art galleries on Rodeo Drive. They wouldn't talk to me. I had on shined black shoes. I had dress slacks, a white shirt and a tie, no jacket. I went into 3 galleries on Rodeo Drive. On the 3rd gallery, I was getting fussy because I'm in the art business. And I walked up to a guy and I said, how much is this painting? I said, hello, how much is this painting? He stood up from his desk, looked at me, looked at a paper in his hand, and walked into the back office. I was out on the sidewalk, and so I'm annoying strangers. which I frequently do. I inflict myself upon people I don't even know. And I told this lady what happened, and she goes, honey, it's Rodeo Drive. If you have to ask, you can't afford it. I go, I know I can't afford it, but I want to know. Bid the $100. If you have to ask, you can't afford it. We already knew that. I know of a gallery, and I'm not going to say them on the air. You can't even get in there unless you have a letter of introduction, and then they don't respond. They respond to the person that was referred to you, and then you have to provide a letter from your bank. So yeah, there are those, and they won't let me in. Well, you know what I say about that. I've been thrown out of better places than this. Now, it does say they have 11 paintings. That's not true. They have 8, because one of my favorites, the Indigo Moon over Waimea Bay, Hawaii, Oahu, has been sold. The Sea Floral, sold. And you're not going to bid $100. Okay? Blue Bouquet, sold. That's sold. Huh. Call them up, ask them if you can buy anything in their store for $10,000. Let me know. At the beginning of the year, today is November 24th, 2024, January of 2024, this gallery had 31 works of art. Now they have 8. It says 11. Sold. They only have 8 for sale. 11 minus 3 is 8. They haven't changed their website. Or I don't know, maybe those sales are pending. Sometimes, not always, a client will sell stock or move money from a money account. I don't know. Yeah, give them a call. This one's... Where is it? There. This is similar, not exact. It's kind of similar. Kind of. It's got an ocean view. Okay. Yeah, call them up, offer them $2,000 for that. No, offer them $4,000. Offer them $4,000 for that. Go ahead. Call them up right now. I'll give you the number. No, I'm not allowed to give you the number. Only have their website at the top of the screen. Poor little buttercup. Poor little buttercup. So why are galleries getting these prices? Well, number one, in the world of art, like in many things, it's supply and demand. We don't have time? I'll cut to the chase. Hollywood, let's go to the book stand. She is well known for her landscapes. She was on tour, the International Art Museum of America. This is January of 2020. The global COVID-19 pandemic brought that to. So like I said, is it just me? Am I just like the only nut out there? Louis Arenal Gallery, you go to a gallery in San Francisco, offer them $5,000 for this painting. They're going to throw you out. The Hamptons, like I said earlier, real estate bargains abound in the Hamptons. No, they don't.
24.
Transform Gallery, Art Gotham, Patch Magazine, which, by the way, I've subscribed. 25. Shanghai. She goes back to Shanghai. You think she's getting $6,000, $7,000 for these paintings? No, doesn't pay the airfare. San Francisco Chronicle. Featured artist, artInNewYorkCity.com. Featured artist. Is that on the way? 26. Yeah, everything's in the way. Time Out Magazine, New York. Who did they choose for the inauguration? Who did they choose for the inauguration? Lisa Me. Why? Because she's the best. Chelsea Studios, 2011, New York City. Kashan Gallery. Now we're talking high-end galleries. Now we're talking high-end. Kashan Galleries is one of the most famous, one of the finest galleries in America, therefore the world. Kashan Gallery. Their reputation is impeccable. Gallery Guide, New York City. Creating dazzling compositions with a flair that is hers alone. They are unique and magical. Great Neck Art Center. You know who taught there? You know who taught there? Louise Nevelson. Go to the Museum of Modern Art. Jim Dine. Go to the Museum of Modern Art. Her husband, Wayne Ensrud, lectured there. He is a genius. And if you ever read anything written by Wayne Ensrud or Lisa Mee, I just demonstrated that on the air. It's beautiful. It's poetry. J.H. Brown Fine Art is one of the finest in the world. Indie Walls, New York City. Art Abound, New York City. And right before the pandemic, Ovation Arts Network. She was finally going national on the big networks. We're like a humble boutique channel. Ovation Art Networks. Underbid. We are underbid. Underbid. Let's go back to the art. And wait till you get it home. It's so much better in person. I salute you. Wait. Go to my computer. I'd like to get 10 cents on the dollar. I'd like to get 10 cents on the dollar. I'd like to get 10 cents on the dollar. I'd like to get 10 cents on the dollar. Tony said he's going to put that on my tombstone. 10 cents on the dollar. Oh, okay. All right.
I told you what I want on my... I'm not going to be buried. I want it on my urn. I'm going to say late bidder. Get it? It works in so many ways.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Late bidder. Going once, going twice. Sold.
Salvador Domingo Felipe Jacinto Dali Dominiche, the Marquess of Dali of Poubal. A Marquess, in France we would say the Marquis. He was nobility. Born May 11th, 1904, he passed away the 23rd of January, 1989. His name today is synonymous with surrealism. He was a great Spaniard, renowned for his technical skill, his precise draftsmanship, but most importantly, the striking and bizarre images in his work. He was born in Figueres, which is Catalonia, Spain. He received a very formal education in fine arts in Madrid. As a young man, like many men of his time, he was influenced by Impressionism and studied deeply the Renaissance masters from a young age. But as a young man, and being aware of global situations and reads the paper, he became increasingly attracted to Cubism and all of the avant-garde art movements. So he moved much closer to surrealism in the late 1920s. He actually joined the Surrealist group in 1929, and it is said that he became more surreal than all of the Surrealists. His best-known work, The Persistence of Memory, was completed in August of 1931. It is the single most famous Surrealist painting. It's at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. When war loomed and reared its ugly head in 1939, even though he had a Spanish passport and was considered neutral, Spain was neutral during World War II, there was a bounty on his head for making surrealist art. He was declared a degenerate artist, so he left for the United States in 1940. He became quite famous. He loved staying at the Hotel St. Regis. He was very brilliant. He was a genius. When he returned to Spain in 1948, did you know he lived in Monterey, California for a while in the 40s? Yeah, he did. He announced a return to the Catholic faith and developed what he called his own nuclear mysticism style. It was based on an interest in classicism, classical art, mysticism, and all the recent scientific developments. His artistic repertoire included painting, graphic arts, film, sculpture, design, photography. He would collaborate with many artists, including Alice Cooper. Matter of fact, he and Alice Cooper together made the world's first true holographic sculpture. It's at the Dali Museum in Florida. He wrote fiction. He wrote poetry. He wrote essays and criticisms. But I think his most important paper is his own diary, The Secret Life of Salvador Dali. His themes had no limit. His dreams, the subconscious, sexuality, religion, science, all of his close personal relationships. And that was to the dismay of those who held his work in high regard. And it irritated his critics that his very eccentric, his ostentatious public behavior often drew more attention than his artwork.
But is it a museum piece? Yes. It is absolutely a museum piece. Go to my computer. It's in a $600 frame. I'm at the website of the Dali Museum in St. Petersburg, Florida. No, the Dali Museum does not endorse or recommend this show or any other auction house that I know of. If you know it, let me know. I'll share it on the air. I'm using the Salvador Dali Museum website as an archive, and that's proper, and this is open and available to all. And I quote Dirk Armstrong, assistant curator. I didn't write this. I quote the Dali Museum, and that's it. That's it. After establishing a friendship with Dali over the course of several years, Dr. Giuseppe Alboreto commissioned the artist to create 100 paintings based on passages selected from the Latin Vulgate Bible. That is the Bible of the Pope, the Roman Catholic Church. Some call it the Pope's Bible. I don't. Giuseppe was a passionate Catholic and stated in an interview in 1995, "I did everything I could to persuade him to meditate on the Catholic religion." He hoped that the project would lead the artist to a closer relationship with God. The results of the Alboreto Commission grew to 105 pieces that were completed between the years 1963 and 1964. The original illustrations were completed with a combination of gouache. What is gouache? Not guaic. What's that there, guaic? It's non-transparent watercolor. But he also did use watercolor, ink, and pastel. The premier exhibition at these prints in Florida was 2007. And how do I know? I was there. I saw it. Yeah, it's a museum piece. As a matter of fact, if you go to the Salvador Dali Museum in Paris, I took that photo. These are not all of the 105. It is some of the Biblia Sacra portfolio prints by Salvador Dali. Now, the big thumb in the bottom right, I never thought I wanted a big thumb. I kind of want it. Anyhow, if you go to the Dali Museum in Spain, yes, they are, from time to time. Now, they have over 100,000 works of art. They don't exhibit everything at the same time. They rotate out the collection. But yes, I've seen them in Spain too. So, yeah, these are museum pieces. And what do they run? They run anywhere from $2,500 to about $8,000. And that's not a joke. I've got an $80 bid. Let's go back to the art. Guys, I don't bid for you. Welcome to the Fine Art Auction, a show founded on a crazy premise that may have not been the best idea of all time. Let's go to the certificate, please. Idolum nomine Bell. We'll talk about that in a moment. From the Sacred Bible, the Biblia Sacra. It is in the Albert Field catalog. It is referenced in the Michler-Lopsinger catalog, both. It is the mixed media color lithograph with serigraphy, silk screen print, varnish, lithography and serigraphy. So that means two different printing houses. These are said to be, and I agree, the highest cost of production of any Dali print in history, because you have to go to a lithographer, and when they're done, then you have it silk screened, serigraphy, then a varnish coat, then metallic pigments on a handmade paper. Cost of production was very high. Why? Because it was the Bible. First date, first printing, 1964, published by Rizzoli Editions in Milan, Italy. Now, I'm not going to be the guy that says, these are the Italian editions. No, it's a workaday world. Picasso, Dali, Miro, Matisse, and others had editions published in America. During World War II, Picasso had editions published in neutral Switzerland. Picasso and Dali and Matisse and Miro all had editions published in Cleveland. The Collectors Guild, that's another story. One of the things that makes this so valuable, is the quality of printing. Now, there is other symbolism here. There are angel wings, bulletism, And right down here, the corona, the crown, the symbol of Salvador Dali and his wife together. The bulletism, we're going to be talking about that in a moment. Salvador Dali, in my opinion, and if you have any other theory or if you have any other information, but after reading and studying, I'm pretty sure Salvador Dali invented the first paintball gun. If you read his own writings, he said, I have constructed a gelatin capsule. I'll do a photograph real quick. Go to my computer. And he would put a gelatin capsule filled with, at various times, printer's ink, lithography touche, or liquid stone crayon. One time he used the ink from a sea urchin. You can't make this stuff up. And he would shoot it at a piece of paper. Sorry, whoopsie. Next one, that's not it. It's not aliens. This is him on the Ed Sullivan Show. That's not a gunpowder pistol. That's an air pistol shooting pellets. So we have the element of bulletism. Dali invented it. It's called pareidolia. Let's go back to the art. And let's have a look in the bottom right. That crown is not there by chance. Salvador Dali knew the head of the photography department for Life magazine. His name was Philippe, it's on the tip of my tongue. Philippe Perlman? No. In any event, he introduced him to a, Salvador Dali was always interested in science. It was from Philippe Halsman of Life magazine, introduced him to Go to My Computer, Harold Eugene Doc Edgerton. He was a professor of electrical engineering at MIT. He is credited with transforming the stroboscope, an obscure laboratory instrument, into a common device. He invented high-speed photography, and I'll show you the most famous one. Now that is terrifying. That is 1/1,000,000th of a second of an atomic bomb. That was an explosion on a tower in Los Alamos. That is death. That is 1/1,000,000th of a second, the ignition of an atomic bomb. That's a very famous photograph. A bullet breaking through the sound barrier, going faster than the speed of sound. And there it is right there. When Salvador Dali saw this high-speed photograph, if you have a bowl of milk and put a red lens under a clear bowl of milk, a glass bowl of milk, the milk looks, pardon me, I'm getting old, guys. When you drop a large droplet of water, milk, into a bowl of milk, it'll bounce. And Salvador Dali saw it, and that is why on almost... a lot of Salvador Dali prints are signed with the symbol, and it became his symbol. He said, that will be the symbol of me and Gala, my wife. So that is the crown from high-speed photography from Harold Doc Edgerton, his friend. And who introduced them? If you're going to go down the rabbit hole with me, you might as well just go for the whole ride. Right, Kathleen Gallagher? I'm a veritable fountain of useless information. Where'd he go? Yeah, here we go. By the way, Philippe Halsman invented what is called the jump photograph. And the funniest one is, why doesn't he have a... Go back to the art. I'm going to do this on my own. You can pick. Oh, do you know what these sell for? $2.25 in a $700 frame. I found one on sale. Go to my computer. This is about as low as they go. Now, this one is challenging. And what I mean by that, it is the death of Jesus. It's an empty cross. So they did put it on 40% off. I've got a $250 bid. That is 40% off. And it's a hard sell. It's the death of Jesus. It's the empty cross. Normal price? Okay. All right. Okay. But I'm a third the price of the frame. And so what is the image about? Let's go back to the art and I'll tell you this story. It is a story about faith in our Lord. On the left is Daniel. I quote, this is, and I printed it out for you, the book of Daniel, chapter 14. I quote, and Daniel was the king's guest and was honored above all of his friends. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Bel, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour, 40 sheep, and 60 vessels of wine. The king also worshipped him and went every day to adore him. But Daniel adored his God. And the king said to him, why dost thou not adore Bel? And he answered and said to him, because I do not worship idols made with hands. I worship the living God that created the heaven and the earth and hath power over all flesh. And the king said to him, doth not Bel seem to thee to be a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within and brass without. Neither hath he eaten at any time. And there is a trap door. Long story short, believe in God, and you will do very well. I don't have time to read the whole thing. I want to get to the... And Daniel left, and he held the king that he should not go in. And he said, behold, the pavement. Those are footsteps, because there are footprints on the ground in the flour. In the end, the king said to Daniel, this is the moment. Because thou canst not say now that this is not a living God, adore him therefore. And Daniel said, I adore the Lord my God, for he is the living God, and that is no living God. Again, this is an image of faith. And so what happened, and I'm going to jump ahead again, the king put him into the lion's den, and the lions did not devour Daniel. And the end, verse 42, and the king said, let all of the inhabitants of the whole earth fear the God of Daniel, for he is the Savior, working signs and wonder in the earth, and hath delivered Daniel out of the lion's den. And this is him leaving the lion's den. This is Daniel with the angel wings. The lions did not eat him. I printed it out for you. He would not worship a false god. Daniel emerged from the lion's den. It is one of the great stories of faith in the Bible. As a matter of fact, there is one other image that always stays with me. I can see it right now. When you go to the Vatican, there are the Raphael rooms. Go to my computer. These are the Raphael rooms in the Vatican, at the Vatican Palace. They're also called the Now look at this. I'm going to move quickly. And you should study this. This is phenomenal. There is Daniel emerging on the right from the lion's den. That is the image by Raphael. The angel comes, puts the guards to sleep. And go back to the art. That's what this is. This is Daniel, triumphant over false idol. Guys, this is insane. I am $300 below the price of the frame for a catalog reference to original Dali mixed media color lithograph. With gold. Look at the gold on the bottom. That is highly sought after. I've got $400 going once. We will literally pay you to buy it. I am not kidding. This is below the cost of material. Below the cost of frame, labor, and time. We will pay you to buy it. Any further advance? No kidding. We are $300 below the price of the frame. I don't bid for you. I'm not going to do it. I think this, go to my computer. Here's a Biblia Sacra for sale right now. You can buy it. It's 40% off. That is a real Biblia Sacra. That's real. Nothing wrong with that. Now this one is challenging. For some people, the death of Jesus, it is a real Biblia Sacra. I am below the price of the frame. I'm below the price of the frame. We are losing money. 10 seconds left. Don't be a late bidder. Please remember a 7 to 8 second satellite delay depending on where you live. I've got $4.75 going once. I've got $4.75 going twice. All in, all done, all fair, all square. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any further advance? Keep the frame. You'll never get a custom frame this price. Handmade custom frame. Plexi, not window pane glass. Acid-free construction. Gold filet. Try to get that frame for $600. Let me know. Underbid. I will not bid for you. Hire somebody else. I don't bid. Hammers up. Last call. For real.
I had 4 people hang up at $4.75.
4 people hung up at $4.75. Wow. Please let me know where you buy your art.
There's no way you're going to find this in the world for under $2,800.
All right, Tony, we burned up the clock. What do you say, Tony?
Oh, now you're worried about time.
Well, you've made me quite concerned.
Have I raised your anxiety level?
Always. Every time I see you.
Guys, this makes me want to, I don't even know what to say.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That is an extraordinary value. Oh, we got that $25 bid. Woohoo! I'm getting guacamole at Chipotle tomorrow.
Don't go crazy, right?
I know that's crazy talk, Tony. But once a year, Tony, once a year we get the guacamole.
Still under the price of the frame by $100. Got a $100 margin on the frame.
Sold.
Every line, every curve, every color, every breath held and every breath released. Art is created. Every moment spent in Berlin, creating this style. Every moment spent in Shanghai, mastering this style. Every moment of doubt, every moment of joy. Hours painting, years of creating. Harmony, peace, tranquility. With every collaboration, with every exhibition, his name grows.
Sold. Sold. California. Sold it under the map.
Sold
Sold at $41,000.
Sold at 63.
With every hammer drop and every piece sold, now is the time
All in and I.
for KEF.
Yes, KEF will be live on the show tonight. And Kathleen Gallagher, I'll call you in a little bit. I miss you, honey. You're so nice. But I do want to talk to you directly.
There's literally like only 10 hours a week Ray's not available.
Yeah, that's
Only
right.
10 hours.
Before I even begin, can we go briefly to my computer? Thank you, David. In 1997, at an art auction, apropos enough, I met a man named Orban Huchette. I didn't know in 1997 he would change my life forever. It was it was 8 years later, 2005, that we began talking to him and his wife. And go back to me because I want to say thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have works of art on this show like the Leonardo da Vinci, like the Salvador Dali, that are at incredible prices. I'm not just saying that because I work here. I did my first auction February 5th, 1997. It's been a long road. I've seen a true seller's market, and that was about from 97 to 2005. And I went, this is great. I went, you can just get up there, it's so easy. And then beginning in 2000, January of 2000, we had a global pandemic, and the art market took a tumble. We're just kind of climbing out of the precipice. But the reason I mentioned Orban Huchet is that at the end of World War II, he began collecting art. He had money. Now, he was an attorney, but he walked away from that. He moved to Paris from Brittany, the upper northwest corner of France, to go down to north central Paris, north central France, where Paris is. And he opened an atelier and printed over 600 editions of prints. He knew all the dealers. Now, when World War II was over, we thought he bought, initially they told us there were 30,000 pieces. He passed away 9 years ago, and his wife Ruth said to us, you know, there's another 50,000 pieces in 2 warehouses in Paris. Do you want them? And we went, yeah, a little bit. May I present to something that is beyond rare? Now, I want you to look at the condition of this rare Peter Paul Rubens. It is magnificent. Why? Because he bought only the best when no one else could have. Everybody else needed money. He knew everybody in the art business. Let's go to the certificate. This is one of our great treasures. Peter Paul Rubens. Now, anytime on this show, when you hear me say the words Baroque or medieval, perk up your ears. Peter Paul Rubens is one of the greatest Flemish Baroque artists of all time. This is the real Peter Paul Rubens. Landscape with Couple Carrying Baskets is an engraving in blank ink after the original oil painting. The original oil painting was done first, and then later in his life, he hired an engraver by the name of Sheltie Adams Bolsworth in Antwerp. This was done the year he passed. This is beyond extremely rare. I'm looking for $30,000 and not a penny less. I've got a $300 bid, and I just proved my case, Your Honor. I don't bid for you. Go to the close-ups. There's a couple of things that I want to point out. There's something absolutely phenomenal, especially in the top. When you have a perfectly made engraving by a master, and it doesn't happen, go to my computer. Throughout the work of art is one of the most highly sought-after things, the moire pattern. And there it is right there. On the right is a fine engraving, a very, very fine engraving. And you can see it sometimes when you travel in a picket fence, sometimes in netting when it blows in the wind. It is a phenomenon that is quite interesting. And here's another example. Now, for it to appear in fine art, the lines must be perfect. You can't even, I'll enlarge this engraving. Do you see the pattern? You may not see it in your TV at home, but now go back to the art and look at the sky. Zoom in as much as you can. This is one of the finest engravings. There it is right there. I'm literally getting goosebumps. Now you have to remember, there was no computer, there was no aid, there was no mechanical device that you could do this. This is among the finest engraving you will ever see. Peter Paul Rubens was born in June of 1577. He passed in May of 1640. He was much more than an artist. He was a diplomat. I quote, he is considered the most influential artist of the Flemish Baroque tradition. Look at the quality of that engraving. Now, I'm not bragging. I have a degree in engraving. When I see something like that, I am transfixed. This is remarkable. I quote again, Rubens' highly charged compositions reference the erudite aspects of classical and Christian history. His unique and immensely popular Baroque style emphasized movement, color, and sensuality. Rubens was a painter producing altarpieces, portraits, and is primarily known for his landscapes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm offering you the best of the best. You don't go to a steakhouse and buy chicken. You don't go to a fish house and order the steak. I mean, my goodness. We have a, what is it, here in Atlanta, we have a steakhouse called Chops. I'm saving up $20 a week so I can go eat there. Yes, I'll take that $120 steak. Give me a $30 side of asparagus. I'm teasing. You know, he is known for his landscapes, both of mythological and allegorical subjects. And what we're looking at here is allegorical. It's a perfect idyllic paradise. Now, I also have another theory on this. Because he was a prolific designer of cartoon. Cartoon doesn't mean Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner and Porky Pig and all that. A cartoon, from the Italian word, is a black outline. Cartoon. It is a black outline. He did the cartoons for the Flemish tapestry workshops. I think this may have been made into a tapestry. It just has that feeling of a Flemish tapestry from Antwerp. Guys, these are extremely expensive. It was made 136 before there was an America, and look at the condition. But more importantly, or as importantly, Rubens was a classically educated humanist scholar. He was a diplomat who was knighted by King Philip IV of Spain and Charles I of England. That is extremely rare. That is extremely rare. He did do mythological subjects and what are called hunt scenes. This is not hunting. This is idyllic, beautiful. This is a perfect life. That's what this is. He also did the decorations of the Palace of Antwerp for the Cardinal Ferdinand of Austria. Go to my computer. The palace in Austria for this man, Don Fernando de Austria, Cardinal Infante Fernando de España. Yeah, I got to get me a jacket like that. That is pretty. Okay, that's pretty cool. Tony, you have a shirt like this, don't you? He doesn't. Go back to the art. There are so many other accomplishments. He decorated, then did the book of illustrations for the Palace of Genoa, the Palazzi di Genova. Go to my computer. I know I'm getting very, very esoteric here. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the art. Guys, this is once in a lifetime. And I asked Orban Huchet personally. I said, Orban, how can we just be, framing these and these valuable documents and just selling them on TV? I said, they're going to get scattered to the wind. And he looked at me with all sincerity, said, Raymond, a work of art in a drawer in a warehouse is dead. It doesn't come to life until someone looks at it. And it's much better to have it in a beautiful frame. This is 136 years older than America. He also was a visionary. He did do altarpieces, but he would paint them on slate to reduce the reflections from the candles in the glass windows. And then slate became the standard. Ladies and gentlemen, a lifetime Peter Paul Rubens.
Yeah, guys, how often do you see these on this show? We can't get them. They're almost impossible to find. Lifetime Rubens in this condition.
Right.
The condition is immaculate. You know who else was making etchings and engravings at this time? Rembrandt was right in the middle of his career. He was, that puts it in perspective, doesn't it? This is during the Dutch Golden Age. That little period of time when all the great etchers and engravers and painters from 12.
And you know,
seriously, guys.
Do you know who one of his closest lifetime friends was? He moved to Italy to study the Italian masters, and he became an important friend, a lifetime friend of Galileo. He was a friend of Galileo. When he got back, when he moved back to Antwerp, he wrote to all of his friends and contacts in Italian. He even signed his name as Pietro Paolo Rubens. And he often wrote that I long to return to my peninsula. Now, he was a genius. He spoke in Italian and Dutch, French, Spanish, and Latin.
400 years old.
Yeah.
That's incredible. 400 years old in 15 years.
No, I'm looking for $30,000. There's nothing on the market like this. There is nothing on the market like this. This is once in a lifetime. Oh, gosh. This show. I just, you know, I wish we could be on a network like Fox or CBS or NBC, and we could have a bigger footprint. Guys, make videos of this show. Make videos of this show and put it on a DVD, and put it in an envelope and put it behind the painting. They won't believe you. You'll have to say, no, watch this video. There was no minimum bid. Not $14,000. This is $1,400. This is $1,400. We've got it in a $900 frame. You're not in any danger on this show. You know why I like this show so much? For once, you can get a square deal. You can get a fair deal. I mean, $6 chocolate candy bar. I mean, I understand that, businesses have cost of goods and they got to pay labor and all that. I just don't like feeling hosed. I mean, my goodness, it's all crazy now. Okay, the last one that came up for market. Go to my computer. The last lifetime Peter Paul Rubens that came up for market was much smaller, 11 by 7 inches. And that is lifetime. $27,000. That was last month. That was 1 month and one day ago. That was 1 month and 1 day ago. That was 1 month and 1 day ago in New York. $0.10 on the dollar now. Oh yeah, that was back in World War II. No, it was last month and 1 day.
Right.
I sound crazy.
Should I start one more time? Please.
Yes, let's go to the third certificate.
Third. It will be last call, guys. 22.
Peter Paul Rubens was Flemish. He was Dutch. He passed in 1640. A landscape with a couple carrying baskets. Oh, and I need to interrupt. Let's go back to the art. Any work of art with a dog in it is good.
25.
Oh, yeah?
Last call.
Come straight up. What if it had 3 dogs? Okay, I'll take it. It's got 3 dogs. It doesn't have 1. It's got 3 dogs in it. Let's go back to the certificate. Yeah, it's got 3 dogs. I looked. Landscape with a couple carrying baskets is an engraving in black ink on laid paper after the original oil painting. The original oil painting was done first. Peter Paul Rubens hired an engraver, Shelty Adams Pulsford of Antwerp. That's where he lived. 1640. It is extremely rare. Guys, you're not overbidding. I just looked at the frame again. That's a $1,400 frame, and I want you to check. I want you to check. And by the way, this is physically one of the largest engravings you'll see of that era. Most engravings of this time are about that big. 34 by 27. 34 by 27. The condition is remarkable. It is just flawless. It's just perfect. It's beautiful. Ay, Lucy. You gotta love this show. You want to get in a good mood? Watch this show. You want to get in a bad mood? Go grocery shopping. It's now and orange has become American currency. Every orange is $1. An orange is $1. I was like, that's $1 each. All right, and you're not overbidding. I mean, you're not overbidding. And I do mean what I say about the size of the print. Okay. You see, this is a copper plate engraving. This is a copper plate engraving. Now, copper back in the 1600s, you had to dig it up with a pickaxe and a shovel, and they usually found it in ravines. I bought this when I worked on the cruise ship up in Alaska. That is copper nugget. Today, they dig up with tractors and trailers and dump trucks vast acres of copper ore. And they put it in a 2-story tall pipe called a rolling ball mill. Now, this type of copper has a lot of lead, a lot of silver, a tiny bit of gold, and arsenic. That is why blacksmiths were paid so high. They all had a short lifespan. Now this, they use electricity to pull it out of the dirt, the ore. This has a lot of nickel in it. This is easy. So that is why, bear that in mind when I show you, these are all actual size. These are all actual size. That is why I'm saying most engravings from the 1600s are tiny. They're small. Why? The cost of copper. To find a nugget like this would be 2 weeks' pay. That would be like maybe even a month's pay. That would be the luckiest break. All right. That is enormous. That is massive. Underbid, thousands. We are underbid by thousands. Lucky bidder you. Lucky bidder you. Who is Yakov Smirnoff, the comedian? What a country. Sold it under the money now, way under the money. Congratulations. Certainly.
Pablo Picasso was one of the greatest and most influential artists of the 20th century, as well as the co-creator of Cubism. Born in Malaga, Spain in 1881, Picasso was a painter, sculptor, printmaker, ceramic artist, stage designer, and was considered radical in his work.
Pablo Picasso, the name is just so huge. It's just a global name. When he first arrived in Paris in 1899, did he even think that he would dominate the entire history of art, the world of art, for the next 100 years?
Art critics and historians typically break Picasso's adult career into 2 distinct periods: his blue period and his rose period. His blue period, which lasted from 1901 to 1904, is named after the colour that dominated nearly all of Picasso's paintings during these years. By 1905, Picasso had largely overcome the depression that had previously debilitated him. His most famous paintings from these years include The Family of Saltimbanque, Gertrude Stein, and 2 nudes. In 1907, Picasso produced a painting unlike anything he or anyone else had ever painted before, a work that would profoundly influence the direction of art through the entire 20th century. It is Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, a chilling depiction of 5 nude prostitutes abstracted and distorted, with sharp geometric figures and features, and stark blotches of blues and greens and greys. Today, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon is considered the precursor and inspiration of Cubism. It's an artistic style pioneered by Picasso and his friend and fellow painter, Georges Braque. Picasso's early Cubist paintings, known as his analytic Cubist works, include 3 Women of 1907, Bread and a Fruit Dish on a Table, 1909, and Girl with a Mandolin in 1910. The outbreak of World War I ushered in the next great change in Picasso's art. He grew more somber and once again became preoccupied with the depiction of reality. Guernica, Picasso's most well-known surrealist painting, deemed one of the greatest paintings of all time, emerged from Picasso's outrage at the bombing and the inhumanity of war. Guernica remains one of the most moving and powerful anti-war paintings in history.
He was everything he was cracked up to be and more.
Inarguably one of the most celebrated and influential painters of the 20th century, Picasso continues to garner reverence for his technical mastery, his visionary creativity, and his profound empathy. And together, these qualities have distinguished him as a revolutionary artist.
Well, I think you can see this has been quite a bitter's romp this evening. You've been having your way. But now I want you to pay attention. Every once in a while, we come across a work of art that defies logic, defies explanation, breaks the boundaries. There is one single painting on American soil that is considered the most valuable, and I think very conservatively appraised at $1.2 billion. Yep, that is more than double the price of the most expensive painting to ever sell, The Savior of the World, the Salvator Mundi, by Leonardo da Vinci, and that would be Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. Why? It changed the history of art. And why is that so important? Well, throughout all of mankind's history, humanity, regardless of where you are, Greenland, Tierra del Fuego, Belgium, you can be in Vietnam, you can be in the steppes of Mongolia, you can be in Siberia. People independently, without any outside contact. Even one of my favorite books in the world, The Life and Times of Captain Cook by Richard Hough, H-O-U-G-H, talked about how Captain Cook was surprised to see that Tahitians had theater, dance, and art. It is what makes us human. Well, every once in a while, there is a painting or a work of art that transcends everything we know. And I think the first of the modern era would be Luncheon on the Grass by Edouard Manet, Le Déjeuner sur l'herbe. It changed everything we knew about art for the last 4,000 years. And then, about 50 years later, Claude Monet's Impression of a Sunrise. It changed everything we knew. We were entering the age of machine, the age of scientific instruments. We had invented the camera. That's a big deal. About 50 years later, it was Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. It challenged everything we knew about art, but we knew in our soul that it was correct. It even brought together Tahitian art, yes, Polynesian art, elements of African art for the first time, and modern art. And it preceded surrealism by 4 years, I think, 3, 4, somewhere in there. And then another painting wouldn't come along with that much power, that much gravitas, until Andy Warhol's Soup Can. Yes, a soup can defined a generation. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you one of the rarest documents in the history of this show, the True Study, 23 by 26, the study for Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. This is a remarkable document. Any museum, any art scholar, any Picasso aficionado would love to have this. Let's go to the certificate. Étude study for Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, number 2. If that's in the title, go to my computer. We're going to come back to that in a moment. A moment is 2.5 minutes. I think I can do it less than a moment. Let's go back to the certificate. A lithograph with extensive hand coloring. Now this is interesting unto itself. Extensive hand coloring. Why? Picasso was notoriously frugal. When his own grandchildren would come, he would hand feed them what's called a mendicant. A mendicant is a word that means beggar. A mendicant is a fig, which has sugar, and it has sugar and protein in it, and it's filled with an almond. So you can live on figs and almonds. It goes back to the Bible. But that's what you hand out to a beggar, because he always felt his family was mooching on him. But at the same time, he was incredibly generous. He would give away cars. He gave away the biggest sculpture Picasso sculpture in the world, 53 feet tall. It's at Richard Daley Plaza. It's in the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And the Blues Brothers, which has surprisingly stood up well over the last 40 years. Anyhow, the Blues Brothers, he gave it away as a gift to the people of Chicago. It was said he was a misogynist, but if you really read about his life, both books by Norman Mailer and Francois Gillot, he was continually surrounded by women, and he loved them. He was very generous with them. What I'm trying to say is that Picasso, known for his frugality, for him to go out of pocket, up front, to pay for original watercolors on his lithographs, it means something very close to his own heart. There were only 200 ever printed in the world. This is the true first edition, printed by Silvana Editorial d'Art in Milan, Italy, 1955. Post-war France, there wasn't a lot of operational printing presses. It is quite valuable. We're looking for $18,000. Why? Go to my computer. No, this is the true study. There is a game. What are the masterpieces lining American museums' walls worth it to the people that could actually afford them? What is number one? What is number one? Number one, with a bullet. And there's our girl, right there. Dead center. She has her elbows above her head. That's our girl. I'm going to enlarge it so you can read it easily. It's hard to convey how badly the top collectors want to own this painting. Hands down.